Joining us now to analyze this battle between Trump and the media, HEIDI PRZYBYLA, senior political correspondent for USA Today. Gayle, a commentator and contributor to the Daily Caller and The Hill. And Molly Ball, political reporter for The Atlantic. HEIDI, Trump has spent a year complaining about the dishonest media. Do you see this, though, as a significant escalation of his battles with the press?
I did, Howie, and I saw it as, just watching this as a reporter, a turning point, both for Donald Trump and for the media. On Donald Trump's behalf, he's called us all of these things before: disgusting, dishonest, unfair. But that was before he even got through the first question. And why were we unfair? In his words, because you made me look bad. And I think the media, for their behalf, was looking at this and saying, we're just fulfilling our most basic duty as journalists. You took a pledge, you made it in a very public way, and in the context of a campaign. We couldn't get answers, we investigated, and now you have a problem with that.
So a more aggressive stance by the media?
Yeah, I think that the media will look at this and say, okay, it's time to do more than just point the camera and give free press. It's time to do more of that basic journalism and fact-checking.
Gayle, does Trump have a point that, from his point of view, he tried to do something good, raise money for veterans groups, and instead got bad publicity?
Yes, no good deed goes unpunished, right? And I think the reporting here by the press is swallowing the camel and straining at gnats. There's a Rasmussen poll that showed that 47% of likely voters think that the media is biased against Trump, and only 23% of likely voters think that the media is biased against Hillary Clinton. And we haven't seen the same type of zeal of the media going after Hillary Clinton or covering the fact that she had this email server, this homebrew email server that she said was protected.
It has gotten a lot of coverage, has it
not? No, we were all over the IG report.
Not to the same zeal. I mean, here Donald Trump has confirmedly raised $5.6 million of donations for veterans groups, and he's being punished for it.
Molly Ball, journalists say it was the Washington Post that prodded Trump because his own personal $1 million donation and some other donations didn't go through until right after the paper publisher was about to publish its story. So where do you stand on this warfare or this skirmish?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is a political tactic for Trump, attacking the media, and it's one that has brought him success so far. Certainly Republican primary voters have no love for the media, and voters overall, people overall. The press is a very low-rated institution in American society. I disagree with the idea that we haven't been aggressive about Hillary and with her emails, but I would say, at least Trump is having a press conference to address these. How long has it been since Hillary Clinton had a press conference? And so what enabled this one-on-one combat between Trump and the press is the fact that he is subjecting himself to questions. He is extraordinarily accessible to the press that he so loathes. So there's a bit of a symbiotic, I think, love-hate relationship there. But he didn't have a leg to stand on in this thing. He hadn't even given out the money or given his own money that he said he was given until he got called on it.
He had plenty of time to answer the questions. Actually, I know the media organizations that were following this for several weeks and trying to get an answer, and it was only when they couldn't get an answer that they decided to investigate.
But is there a circling of the wagons here? Because here we are covering a story that's about our profession. I've seen journalists, we played a few, go on the air and say, this is terrible for Trump to be whacking us, and he needs to move on, and he needs to pivot. At the same time, our profession is so widely distrusted on the left as well as the right.
Yeah. Well, how I look at it, I get it when we cover stories about 20-year-olds' phone calls or delving into his romantic history. It just kind of plays to that sense among his supporters that the media is unfairly picking on him. But in this case, I think it is pretty black and white. Like I said, it was a public pledge he took, and he did it as part of his campaign. And the anger that we're seeing both by Trump and, frankly, by a lot of the people who love him and support him just makes me feel like, is there an underlying problem in terms of just not understanding civics, basic civics, and the role of the press in this country?
Well, Molly, since Trump specifically went after ABC's Tom Llamas, said you're that sleazy guy over there, his question, Llamas' question at that presser, you said you raised $6 million. Clearly you had not. Your critics say you tend to exaggerate. You have a problem with the truth. Is this a prime example? That might be an aggressive question, but is it an unfair one?
We should always be aggressive, and we should be aggressive toward everybody. I didn't think, and it's not the first time he's singled somebody out either. I've been to multiple Trump rallies where in front of his thousands of supporters, he points at individuals in the press pen, calls them out by name, calls them all kinds of ugly names, and that's borderline provoking people against a reporter. I think part of the reason that people are so negative toward the press, to Heidi's point, is that candidates on both sides love to attack the messenger when they don't have the facts on their side.
Let me try this on you, Gayle. I think journalists secretly love these attacks. Not that we like being called names and vilified, but it's a juicy story, and it's a story that involves us, and we're narcissists.
Right.
And so if it had just been a defense of the veterans' money, 24-hour story. Instead, a week later, we're still debating Trump, the press. Did he go too far? Has he gone too far with others? What do you think?
Right. Well, it's gotcha reporting, and I think that the press loves it because it's this back and forth that creates a lot of excitement. And as I've said repeatedly through Donald Trump's year-long campaign, he loves a media firestorm. He's the opposite of a typical politician. He thrives on that. So these types of back and forths resonate with millions of American voters who feel like the media bullies a lot of people, and they finally have someone who's an effective response to the bullying of the media.
Just briefly, so you say gotcha reporting. You don't see any legitimacy to the question of what happened to this money?
Absolutely not. And the hypocrisy of the press not going after Hillary Clinton for real national security, life and death issues just really underscores.
Which was on the front page of every major newspaper.
We're going to talk about
We
Hillary.
were all over that IG report. And I spent my whole summer reading every single one of her emails and writing about them as well. So I just strongly dispute that we're not
33,000 emails? That's
covering
impressive.
that we're not covering